This is General of the Armies Vincent Diaz Jr. And this is a communique on the same topic as the preceding one today. So today I was thinking about how to take over a country like the Ukraine in a situation as is happening with Russia. And been trying to think over some sort of layman's terms that'll show out to be a really genius strategy. Just sort of moving stuff in a way that takes over, and you can just leave it there, and it effectively takes the place over for you. They're talking about people running out of food, some people without electricity and stuff. Maybe it's a good reason for. I think Russia should advance. I don't know. I've looked over the assets numbers, how many tanks and how many this and how many that's they put out sometimes, yearly or whatever. I'd like to see an advanced front. Advancing and just behaving like the part of Crimea, or the part of the Ukraine, the parts of the Ukraine that are supposed to become Russia, sort of become Russia right here during the war, as much as they can fairly. I keep talking about these slaughter rules, or like a mercy rule, and I think I remember this from our shock and awe campaign, where it came down to that one city we hit in such a way that if we decimated it enough, we could win the war by that battle or that attack or that damage alone. Because if we went too far, more countries, let alone just cities, than that one in the region would have been too adversely affected. A lot of them would have went down. And then the shock and awe was the proof that we could do it systematically and fairly, and in about half the time limit. The rules of war to get slaughter rules or mercy rules. So right now I'm just wondering what it is to actually have to do it to like a whole country, or not just one city, bigger nations, something more like the USA or Ukraine or something. And in my mind, when I have to go to my missile batteries I'm supposed to have under my control, I usually start trying to go for the most damage of the most impactful means of controlling the country with war, with the minimum amount of ordnance in the minimum amount of time, with the maximum amount of, for lack of a better terms, almost just code and orders forcing the behavior. So we've had some special TV shows in the USA where it's like our whole country is said to break down in certain ways if you can take out the spaghetti junctions. And writing some fiction books, I've thought it through. I don't know if I went this far, if I put the whole strategy in. I forget, trying to figure out how many batteries were in, or how many missiles were in the batteries. But I was more interested in, like how many it would take to do the destruction right. And then I was just trying to work out, like how many I had, how fast I could get them, and what I could do with them. Like thinking about the Mississippi Bridge. I wonder if that's more of a show. I don't know if the Mississippi Bridge would be of Crimea. But here in the USA, the way the grid works, there is a massive advantage to destroying all the spaghetti junctions and intersections. There might be some bridges around that infrastructure for rerouting. And achieve such an effect that the whole system would be a disconnected system or something close. It would be beyond bottlenecks of being the problem. It would be beyond too much traffic being the problem. There's all these thoughts about airports. We've never had the war where they went after the airports like they hype them up on the TV over the holidays, like trying to catch the major hubs and major centers during ethical times to take them offline. But when I get into trying to destroy plants and factories, I had been staying away from the waterworks and the electricity. It's really nice to see Chernobyl taken over by Russia. Sometimes I try to attack things to break the morale of the people, like destroying some of their long-loved products, like a handmade car. Manufacturer, putting them out of business, destroying their factory. Sometimes I think about trying to destroy icons, like a model of a vehicle. Maybe not too many of them, going after some museums, but more than likely just stopping it from being produced. Like it's an easier one to go get, and it's within the war space. You can put down the factories, maybe some parts. I think about trying to go after some status clothes, brand, production methods. Maybe if they would be easy, like they're within one country. I wonder about making more bombs. Like, what's the rate of making bombs and trying to use them all? In a way, you're sort of not using all your bombs you're making as you're using all your bombs you're making. Around some logic of refilling batteries. Maybe like refilling the whole place, like you started with a packed factory of bomb production, missile production, with every firing slot full, and if you empty, what's it take to fill it? I had one piece of automation, having been put through the hell of war here, having lost this country. I mean, it was pandemic already, so I guess I should have. I don't know if my terms count. I know pandemic is sort of supposed to mean we already lost the war, the country was already dead. It didn't necessarily mean the country was dead. I would like to automate some tanks to destroy the roads. Cities are somewhat difficult to understand. I guess you could go after the bus routes and stuff. Those might be the right routes to just be able to pick up a handful of routes and destroy the whole grid without having to go after the whole grid. But I'd like to automate the use of the tanks to destroy the roads like we do sometimes. And then I would try to automate, it seems easy enough, Domino's has some pizza carriers, supplies to those living in the war zone that are the basic humanitarian aid. In a way, no humans had to be involved. That was still propagandizing that for the transition in nations.